Hello and welcome to the Abundantly Favored podcast, where faith meets mindset, gratitude fuels growth, and your words shape your world. We're your hosts, Jenny and Shelley, two sisters, wives, moms, and lifelong encouragers who believe God has richly equipped you to live an abundant life.
Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, faith, purpose, and the power of speaking life. Whether you're in the car, on a walk, or curled up with coffee, consider this your weekly dose of encouragement.
Abundantly favored, walking in grace, carried by mercy, held in His place. Abundantly favored, chosen and free, overflowing with love for all to see.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, episode 2.
Woo.
All right, I'm so excited to be here. So thanks for joining us again. Hopefully you caught our first episode. If you didn't, go back and listen.
Yes, please do. We, as you know from episode 1, always start with a little Bible verse. But just to give you first a little sneak peek of what we're talking about today, our episode 2 is on faith plus mindset and how we learned this in college from our summer job. So stay tuned for that.
Can't wait to dive into that. So our Bible verse, this episode is James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And boy, did we learn that on the book field.
That's
Right?
right. We are going to talk about, we really need to talk about how this whole mindset thing actually started for us. And like Jenny mentioned, and I mentioned, it actually started on our summer job in college. Like most people, I think their summer jobs, you know, I had friends who were lifeguards, friends who worked in like detasseling and that sort of thing. We're from the Midwest, and we did all of that kind of stuff in high school as well. But when we went to college, we had something really unique. I will say my first summer out of college, I was actually a nanny in Connecticut for a family with 3 boys, which was a ton of fun. And they were typical 3 boys. But my second summer is something that really changed the trajectory of both of our lives, I think. Wouldn't you agree, Jen?
Absolutely.
So we're going to kind of tell the background story of that a little bit and why that matters for your life too, like what we've learned from that and how it can help you as well. So should I just dive in, Jen?
Yeah, dive in. And the funny thing
Okay.
is, you guys will learn, like from the first episode, we talked about how I followed in Shelley's footsteps a lot. So we'll see if I did with this job too. Go for it,
Yes.
Shell.
So one summer, or actually it was the fall, I think, of my sophomore year of college, I happened to see a great friend who I had met on a church retreat when I was in high school named Tammy. And I had just got finished doing my nanny job, and she had just got finished doing this very unique summer job. She said, "Hey, I really want to talk to you about what I did this summer." And she asked me, of course, how my nanny job was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I live to tell the story, but it was fun.
Okay, time out. Before
What?
you get into the book thing, you have to tell the one thing. Well,
Oh my
actually,
gosh.
actually, there's one thing you didn't share in the book that you've shared before, like something was hurled out of a second story window, maybe?
Oh, with the 3 boys. Yes. So if you are from the Midwest and you get a nanny job, you're thinking, I'm going to be living in the lap of luxury and because I went to Connecticut. I was in Riverside, Connecticut, and their really nice house was under construction. So we were just in a really super modest rental house, and we lived across the street from a school. And one of the days, like the boys were just, I think there were 7, 5, and 3 or whatever. And one day, one of them throws a watermelon out the top story window. So I'm dealing with that. Another time, the same sweet little cherub decides to get in the car as I'm putting out a different fire, get in the car and put it in neutral. It wasn't in the garage, and it started to roll as I'm running, chasing after him. Luckily, he rolled into the parking lot of the school. But So that was my summer that year. So
I
when
don't think you
Tammy,
told me that.
oh my gosh, no, that could be a whole other book, but they're
Okay.
sweet, great family, but wow, there was a lot. So anyway, so I'm coming off of that summer. And when I see Tammy and she's like, I actually worked for a company called the Southwestern Company. They're out of Nashville, Tennessee. And it was the hardest summer of my life, but the most rewarding. And I thought, well, I feel like I had a hard summer. I don't know if I'd call it rewarding or not, but I was a little bit intrigued by it. She's like, you should just come check it out. And she made a ton of money that summer as well. And so I was a little bit curious, and she told me a little bit more about it. And she said, well, yeah, it's actually like door to door sales. And I thought, oh, that just sounds terrible. And she's like, it was really, really hard, but I made a lot of money. I grew a lot as a person, and I really trusted what Tammy said. She was just a great friend. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go check this out. So I went to, they had meetings on campuses, and they have sales managers who were probably, how old was JT? Maybe in his 20s or 30s, probably at that
Probably
time.
early 30s, I'm
Okay,
guessing.
so JT was the sales manager that would go around from campus to campus. Wonderful man, still friends with him to this day.
Yeah, and time
And
out, JT, if you listen to this and you weren't in your early 30s, we're sorry. We have no idea.
yes, yeah, we don't know. Who knows back then.
Yeah.
But the thing I remember about JT is he did not sugarcoat. Two things I remembered about JT. One was he talked so beautifully and lovingly about his wife, who he had
Mm.
met on the book field, Sarah, that I just thought, this man is just such a wonderful human being. Even though he was telling me at the same time, like, this is a job where you work 75 to 80 hours a week. You work Monday through Saturday, 7:59 in the morning till 9:30 at night. And you're literally knocking on doors selling these educational books in another state. You didn't even live in the same state, for good reason, probably because you would have run home the first day. But anyway, JT was just very, just a wonderful human being, you could tell. So I thought, okay, he's just a good person. I could tell this. He did it for several summers. He met his wife doing this for several summers. And but like I said, he did not sugarcoat it. He said, this will be the hardest thing you've probably ever done so far in your life. We're not looking for salespeople. We don't want like just charmers. He's like, we want serious people who have grit, resilience, or who are willing to build those skills. And it's pretty lucrative, if you stick with it, and, the rest is history, I guess. So I sat there and I thought, oh my gosh. And all of the people who had done it in previous summers, all of the college students were there, and they just were cool people. They were people who you could tell they had this little bit of a swagger to them, not like a cocky swagger, but like
Confident.
how confident you could tell they'd been through something difficult. And they not only were going to go back and do it again, they wanted to teach other people as well. And so they had a little agreement you could sign, and they really wanted people who were committed, and if they said they were going to do it, they were going to do it. So I knew I wasn't going to sign this paper if I didn't plan on showing up. I wasn't going to back down. So I signed the paper. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I thought my parents are going to think I'm crazy. Luckily, Tammy had chatted with them, and believe it or not, they were on board with it. And so we ended up that all throughout the school year. This was probably in October that we had talked about this, or that I had signed up to do it. And so we had sales training from Tammy and other sales managers who would come into town for the entire year pretty much. And then in May, when school was out, when other people were, making fun summer plans to go to the lake or go, just have a bonfire or whatever, I was packing up to go to Nashville, Tennessee, where this company is located, for what they call like sales school. It's a sales training.
Okay.
And
before we
go
get
ahead.
into that, can I kind of share my perspective right now where I'm at with you in this whole process?
Yes.
Okay, so that summer, or that school year, excuse me, when Shelley had decided she was going to sell books, that was my senior year in high school. And I remember her freshman year of college was my junior year of high school, and I remember thinking she abandoned me, like she left me. And so the
Sorry.
summer, like she said, yeah, the summer after her freshman year of college, she was in Pennsylvania. And now she's going to leave me again. And I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Yep, go do it. You did miss my graduation, which I understood because you're going to do
Hmm.
this thing. Um, but yeah, so with that, before we get into the like what Nashville was like,
Hmm.
actually do that. Tell what Nashville was like because you explain it so well. It is so true, exactly what this is.
Well, for those of us adults who are listening to this, think about the typical trainings you attend. They're pretty ho hum,
Dry.
boring, dry. This training was, it's a bunch of college kids, and it was, I said before, it's kind of like if you were going to a Tony Robbins conference, a boot camp, um, what else? How else
A
did I
rock
describe it?
concert.
A rock concert all in one. That's what this week of sales training was like. And we had time to hear motivational speakers. We had time to practice our sales talk that we had, because I mean, they had it down to a science. It was like the best sales training I think that you could ever possibly go through, because what college kid is really trained in sales? But they made sure that we were equipped to handle any objection, any and they were truthful. They didn't sugarcoat anything. They said, you're probably not going to like this, you're going to want to quit 100%. And some people do, but the people who write it out, learn more, make more, just become more
More.
confident, yes, than those who end up quitting. And if you're listening to this and you quit, hey, no problem.
Yes.
I
And I'm sure
understand.
you're a different person have with anything you experience, right? If you are someone who tried it and quit, whatever.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
just share too, really quick. So that first summer after Shelley got home, we're going to get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty, why we're even telling you this story and how the mindset came to be. But she came home that summer. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Jenny, it was awesome. I mean, it kind of sucked, but it was awesome. You need to do this with me." And I had followed in Shelley's footsteps for pretty much everything. Like I already knew I was going to UNI to be a teacher as well.
Mhm.
But I literally remember saying several times, because our mom and dad tried to get me to do it too that first summer. And I'm like, just because Shelley did it doesn't mean I have to do it. And I very much was like, why would I do that? Well, so Shelley went out one more summer to sell. So her second summer after that, they always did an awards banquet in the fall. And that fall, she invited me to come along with her. So I did. Went to this event and I met all of the people, saw their camaraderie, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I should do this. Now, I
Mhm.
had just gotten off a summer after my freshman year of college. I went to this, I lived with one of my college friends in her hometown and worked at a water park. So that was my summer job. So this really intrigued me. So Shelley, thank you for that. And
Yes.
but like Shelley said, it was not an easy job, and they thankfully prepared us for that and gave us tools that really
Mhm.
helped shape our mindset. And really, in our book bag, what were some of the books at sales school that they gave us?
They had a really good one called Now Is Your Time to Win. So these were just chapter books,
Motivation. Hmm.
and that were really motivational books that were really popular at the time, but are really timeless. I mean, my son has gone through a lot of those books as well, because they really are timeless. Og Mandino's book,
The greatest
The
salesman in the
Greatest
world.
Salesman, which isn't really necessarily about sales at all, but it's just different parables or lessons that you would read. And they would have us read one of those every day for like a week, the same chapter over and over. And it was really the first time that we realized that, no matter what happens to you, no matter what your circumstances are, you have a choice in how you look at it. And because to the outside world, selling books door to door, 75 to 80 hours a week in sweltering weather, a lot of the times when it was raining on the 4th of July, if it fell on a non Sunday. Literally, we worked the 4th of July too. And actually, it was kind of fun because you would just kind of go from barbecue to barbecue. And people kind of wondered what you're doing. And some of them had a little bit too much to drink. And so, hey, sure, show us what you have. Um, but it really set us up to realize that whatever you are going through, and now, there are, as we all know, there are different levels of what people are going through. We're kind of talking in general, like the day-to-day things that are annoyances to us, or I got a flat tire. Um, I left my lunch at home. My child isn't listening to me. Those are the day in, day out things that we really realized how much your mindset can play into either having a terrible day because of those little annoyances, or just shifting your mindset and getting to look at things in a totally different way.
It's kind of fun too because this experience, just recently, our mom and dad have both said that this is the best thing that could have ever happened to us. And like we said, we're one of six kids. Our youngest brother did this as well. He sold
Sold
books for the
books.
Southwestern Company. But really, that awareness, that our experience through selling books for the Southwestern Company really made us aware of our thoughts. And that's what really helped us transition into our adulthood as well. Because really, after selling books, Shelley sold for 5 summers, I sold for 4 summers. And really, after that, it's like we can do anything. If we
Hmm.
survived this, and we did, we're here to tell about it, right? We
Right.
really can do anything. But that mindset piece, um, the Sundays, like Shelley said, we worked Monday through Saturday from 7:59 a.m. because that was the goal. You start knocking before 8 a.m. So you wanted to be knocking on the first door by 7:59 a.m. and then work until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. But then Sundays were our fun day, if you would. So we could go to church. We did our Sunday meeting and usually did something fun, and that was really neat. But that whole mindset focus, like when you get a door slammed in your face and you want to quit and you want to go home, they gave us the tools to get out of that, right? And a lot of what Shelley and I have done, thankfully, we were raised in a faith-based home, and we've been able to see the correlation between the Bible and all of this mindset stuff. And, back then we didn't know that it was brain science or anything like that, but it's been so fun to watch how it shaped who we are today. And really, with that, Shelley, we probably should even get back into that Bible verse that we first talked about. Okay, so if you think about it again, it's James chapter 1, verse 2 through 4. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. We
That's
lived
right.
that. We definitely lived that on the book field. And it, of course, several other times in our adult life as well.
Hmm.
So, in us telling all of this to you, we know that everyone goes through things, right? And it's how you respond to it. It's even like we'll get into this in a future episode as well, but worry versus faith, right?
Hmm.
So when something
Hmm.
happens to you, are you worrying about it? Or are you asking God for help? Are you trusting what God can do and help you with, which
Right.
really ties into that.
Well, and I think you and I have both heard this, and many people have probably heard this, but really, worrying is negative goal setting. So if you
Ooh.
want to think about it that way, if you're worrying about something, well, and also you're not relying on God. You're thinking it's too big for him to handle. And just because we've written a book on this and we try to live our life according to this doesn't mean that we don't succumb to worry sometimes. And it's nice to have people around you who kind of remind you of that. It's like, are you letting fear take over? Are you letting, do you think God can't handle this? And sometimes it's not about the outcome, because we have to face it. Sometimes the outcome isn't how we would have liked things to turn out, but it's just being okay and surrendering with the fact that God, you are with me on this. I'm going to surrender it to you. I don't want to have to worry about this anymore. And we've got lots of stories that we'll be sharing in future podcasts where we had to do that. We had to just surrender our circumstances to God and know and trust that thy will be done. Thy will be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So really, thinking about, I don't know, maybe we won't get into that. We have so much
Oh,
more we
just,
want to share. Yeah, you want me to get into it or not?
yeah, go
Should
ahead. Go
I?
ahead.
Should I? Should I not? So,
Sure.
it's so fun when you look back to and we talked about in the first episode how God has prepared you for where you are today. So I mentioned I sold books for 4 summers, right? I was not the most successful at it, honestly. But it's still, I kept coming back to it for the people. Like, obviously I was successful. I got through, but sales wise, my sales weren't super high when I did that. But there have been several times in my life where it's like, oh my gosh, that experience has prepared me for where I am today. So, there's definitely been bumps in the road for us, me and Shelley both, but it's just that reliance on God to be able to say, okay, God, use me, and having that trust. Like, one of the other things that I've heard said before too is when you worry, you're basically telling God, I don't trust you. It's like, well, that's huge when you think about that, for sure. So, I don't know. That's just
Right.
kind of where we want to leave you today, just kind of with where's your trust? Where's your awareness, right? Because awareness is huge. And we'll get into that in future episodes too. A lot on awareness of what what you're thinking and what you say. A lot of it is about yourself, right? So
So
we can
true.
dive into that.
So we just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we want to make sure that you subscribe to this podcast, Abundantly Favored, so you don't miss an episode. And if you found value in this podcast, please share it with a friend. Everybody needs some encouragement. Leave a review, and that will really help more women find this message. And remember, you can always visit abundantlyfavored.com to learn more about our books, our resources that we have. And you can find us at Abundantly Favored on all of the social media sites as well.
And we just want you to remember that you are abundantly favored.
That's right. See you next time.